He cursed under his breath as the boarding gate closed. But when he turned around, the woman walking past him made his heart skip. She wasn't just familiar. She once made sure he never missed a single thing in life. Kabir Malhotra was never late. Billionaire, investor, and planner to the minute, he prided himself on precision. But that morning, a last-minute call, a delayed driver, and a jammed terminal had conspired against him. By the time he reached the gate, the plane had already pulled away. Frustrated, he turned from the counter, running a hand through his hair. And that's when he saw her. A woman in her early 50s, in a faded olive-green kurti, calmly walking toward the waiting area with a warm smile and a book in hand. His breath caught. "Ms. Leela?" he whispered before he could stop himself. She turned and blinked as if she couldn't believe what she was seeing. "Chotu?" she said slowly, her smile widening. "Kabir. Malhotra?" He laughed under his breath. No one had called him Chotu in over 20 years. "You haven't changed," he said, stunned. Leela chuckled. "I wish. These knees would argue otherwise." They stood there for a moment, letting time rewind itself. Ms. Leela Sharma, his school-time personal caretaker. The woman hired to make sure he ate lunch, finished homework, got to bed on time, and most importantly, never missed the school bus. She ran beside him every morning, sometimes holding his shoes in one hand and his water bottle in the other. And now, decades later, she stood in front of the man she once mothered like her own. Still gentle, still composed. "You made it?" she said, eyes shining. "I always knew you would." He looked down at his missed flight notification. "I missed something today," he said, smiling. "But I think I found something better." They moved to a quieter corner of the airport lounge, the kind that didn't care who you used to be or what you'd become. Kabir ordered 2 teas, just the way she used to make them. Extra milk, no sugar for her, light and sweet for him. "You really remember that?" she laughed, cradling the warm paper cup. "I remember everything," he said, softer now. "How you used to stand outside my room holding a sock in one hand and my timetable in the other. How you yelled at me when I tried to fake a stomachache to skip a math test." She chuckled, shaking her head. "You were a drama king even at 7. He smiled, then paused. "After I moved to boarding school, I never saw you again. I wanted to visit when I came back that first summer. But they told me you had resigned." Leela nodded slowly. "My mother had fallen ill. I had to move back to our village. Life didn't wait." Kabir's voice dropped. "I tried to find you later. Asked a few people. No one had answers." "I didn't expect you to remember me," she said, eyes kind. "You were meant for big things. I was just one small part of the start." "You weren't small," he said firmly. "You were the only consistent thing in a house full of absence." She looked at him, surprised. He leaned back. "My parents were always away. Dinners were silent. But you made noise. You made sure someone cared." She lowered her eyes for a moment, a faint sadness flickering. "I always wondered if you turned out okay. If all those scoldings and bedtime stories meant anything." Kabir reached into his briefcase and pulled out a weathered photo, creased at the corners. A boy in oversized school clothes, grinning with missing teeth, his arm thrown around a younger version of Leela. "I carry this," he said quietly. "Not because I need a reminder, but because I never want to forget who made sure I showed up for the life I have now." Leela brought her hand to her mouth, overwhelmed. "And now," he added, "it's my turn to make sure you're not forgotten." Leela's hand trembled slightly as she held the old photo, her eyes scanning every detail like it was a dream she never expected to relive. "I can't believe you kept this," she whispered. Kabir smiled gently. You were the reason I showed up to school with 2 matching socks and a brain full of confidence. You didn't just raise a child, Leela. You helped build the foundation of the man I became." She blinked away the tears gathering at the edge of her eyes. "You always were a soft-hearted boy, just better at hiding it now behind all those suits." He chuckled. "You always saw through me." There was a short pause, and then he asked, "Where do you live now?" "In a small rented place in Pune," she said softly. "I teach a few kids in the neighborhood, just basic reading and writing. Nothing special." "It is special," Kabir said immediately. "Everything you do is." She shook her head with a faint laugh. "You're being kind." "No, I'm being honest," he replied. "You once made sure I never missed the things that mattered. I'm going to do the same now." Leela looked confused. "What do you mean?" "I have a program at my foundation," Kabir said. "It supports retired caregivers, teachers, nannies, people who shaped lives quietly and were forgotten just as quietly. Starting today, you're part of it. Full financial support, health care, a home if you want it, no paperwork, no waiting." Her mouth parted, stunned. "Kabir, no, I can't take that." He leaned forward. "It's not charity. It's respect, and it's overdue." Tears slid down her cheeks silently. "I didn't expect anything from you, Beta. I was just doing my job." He smiled, eyes soft. "And I'm doing mine now, taking care of the woman who never let me miss a single thing, including the kind of love no money could ever buy." Leela covered her face for a moment, trying to hold herself together. And Kabir, no longer the billionaire, no longer the high-powered businessman, just sat quietly, holding her hand. Because sometimes, missing a flight doesn't throw off your day. Sometimes it puts your heart exactly where it was always meant to return. The flight that Kabir missed? He never rebooked it. Instead, he spent the rest of that day with Leela, sharing stories, catching up on years that had quietly slipped away, and laughing like time hadn't stretched between them at all. By evening, he had arranged a car to take her home. But as they stood outside the airport, he said, "You know, Didi, this goodbye doesn't feel right." She smiled gently. "Goodbyes never do." "That's why I don't want one," he said. "Come stay with me, for a while, as long as you want. My house has too many rooms and not enough warmth. Maybe you could bring some of it back?" Her expression wavered. "But I'm just—" "Your family," he interrupted softly. "And no one leaves family on the roadside with only memories to keep them warm." The next morning, Leela walked through the grand doors of his home. Not as a guest, not as a former maid, but as someone finally given the place she always deserved. She wasn't hidden away in a back room. She was introduced with pride to staff, to guests, even at events. "This is Leela Sharma," Kabir would say. "She raised me." And soon she wasn't just part of his life again. She became part of many. She helped design a scholarship in her name, taught children of Kabir's staff how to read and write, and started a small weekend storytelling circle that quickly grew into something beautiful. One night, as Kabir passed by her room, he saw her sitting by the window, reading a book. He paused, then asked, "Didi, do you ever regret coming with me?" She looked at him with the same calm eyes from his childhood. "Never, Chotu. I only regret that I couldn't see the man you became sooner." He stepped in and sat beside her. "You're here now." She nodded, smiling. "And you're still right on time." Because the people who once made sure we never missed a thing deserve to know they were never forgotten. If this story touched your heart, share it. Sometimes, the most meaningful reunion happens not by plan, but by divine delay. Love.